Good evening, Cyclone fans, and welcome to WBJ Radio Sports and the Coach Shawn Witten Show. We're joined tonight. I'm Stacy Street along with my partner Tony Briggs, and we have Coach Shawn Witten here with us. Coach, let's talk a little bit about last week's game against Greenville, and then we'll talk after that, after our break, about the big contest tonight as we take the field again against the Daniel Boone Trailblazers at the homecoming for 2021. Coach, for the first time in 2 years, you've had to come in on a Sunday and prepare for a game after a loss. Let's talk a little bit about the Greenville game last week and what your thoughts are about that loss.
Well, Stacy, it's just very disappointing, that we didn't play the way that we're capable of, that we didn't play in a really tough opponent with a lot of stake on line, that we didn't execute the way that we worked, for 13 days preparing for the team. And so, it's disappointing. After the game on Friday, you saw a lot of hurt, which is a good thing. You saw a lot of disappointment. Guys were really angry and upset about it, which is a positive sign that our guys really care about the direction of the football team. I thought our kids played hard. I thought we competed. You go back and you watch several times of the film. You watch the TV replay. 2 minutes and 14 seconds in the third quarter, Gudger's got 11 carries, 50 yards. At halftime, it should have just been 14-6. And so we had some opportunities to make some plays, when we were there. And, Greenville's a very talented football team. They beat us. They were the more tougher team Friday, and they did a great job executing the plays when they needed big plays to happen.
And we talked last week during your show about the speed of Gudger, and I think maybe, I'm sure you didn't, but I think we kind of underestimated the total team speed. I thought that was one of the faster teams that we've seen in a long time come into Citizens Bank Stadium.
Well, as good as they are offensively, Stacy, they're as fast on defense too, and they have two corners that can lock you up and play, which gives them a lot of flexibility in their coverage schemes. Jackson Tillery, number 8, which was one of their safeties, had a lot of tackles because he was able to free up and get down in the run game. On our second drive of the game, we had an 18-play scoring drive. We were able to capitalize on Bryson running the ball just because the safety was playing high. They made some adjustments through the course of the game that really made it tough on us to kind of get that extra defender blocked. And some of our run game that we had 2 weeks ago against Science Hill, we were able to get 5 and 6. Against Greenville, we were getting 2 and 3. We just weren't doing a good enough job sustaining the run game. And you have tough matches, when your receiver core match up against their secondary, of how much you can blow by them, how much you can get some throws underneath. We thought we had some shots that we wanted to take. They opened a drive. We had a wheel route to Dalton, which was just barely overthrown. We could have got executed there. We had a play later in the second series to Jake deep in the end zone that we got bailed out by a roughing the passer call. But they're a talented football team, and it is no disrespect to our team, but the last 2 weeks, both teams have been more talented than we are. They just got more team speed, and I thought they did a great job of making Gillespie a player to watch. He was a difference maker. He was a Parker Hughes on the field Friday night. They had some plays scripted to him he's definitely a difference maker.
Well, and what we run into here too is also the chess match continues. We've talked about all during this championship run about how Greenville made Elizabethton a better team. Greenville's sort of taken that same playbook and they've changed things. We saw different defenses than we saw. We didn't see any more linemen running upfield and linebackers reading. The linemen were reading this time. The linebackers were coming, and as you said, with that speed in the defensive backfield, they could lock it up one-on-one, and it seemed like Elizabethton receivers, if they had a couple of yards cushion, by the time the ball got there, they had closed that gap.
Well, the last time we played them in 2020 here, they made some adjustments the second time playing against Parker and against Bryson a little bit. They used some of that, which we saw Friday. But you're right, when you got corners that can cover on the back end, when you don't have to blitz a lot of pressure. They did a great job of keeping the linebackers covered up. We were able to get to the second level, but the linebackers weren't blocked. I thought they did a great job of scheming us and preparing for us. Really what goes back to, our offensive coaches, our line coaches, Devin Whitehead, all the guys, even Ryan have done a great job of really, we're trying to make some adjustments through the course of the game. But really now what's come into play when you play Greenville is we almost have to find a different way to tackle,
they're doing the same thing.
They're doing the same thing. We've always had some special formations that we went to. They made some adjustments to them. They were bringing the corners over. They were moving the guys around. It's almost a little bit our short yardage goal line package. That we just didn't get it executed the way we've been able to, in the last several games. So they've made us go back to the drawing board a little bit. We know that other opponents, just like tonight, Boone's going to do a lot of the copycat side of things. So we've got to find different ways to approach that. The first way you do that offensively is you create more formations. Different ways for them got to adjust and get lined up. A lot of that's with our guys. They got to study the playbook a little bit. They got to understand who's who, and we've got to get more contribution from different personnel groups so that we can mix up different formations.
You're speaking on your offense. You've been the offense coordinator. It seemed like Greenville was throwing a little bit at us that was confusing, especially our young line a couple of times, and maybe even Bryson a couple of times with some underthrown balls and a couple of overthrown, like he was getting antsy.
Well, we were 50% on third down, which is not great. We had some down and distance in our favor that we thought that we could kind of two-play territory where we could get maybe 5 yards to go on third down, maybe get into fourth and short. Bryson is one of the best in short yardage goal line situations. He does a great job there. Cade is a phenomenal blocking back that really, every play that he's inserted, he does a great job of blocking the linebackers. And we thought that we could have some personnel settings where we could get, some good runs with Bryson running the ball. And we just weren't able to sustain it. We weren't able to sustain drives. I thought there was a key pivotal moment in the game where on Greenville's second series, they went 3 and out. And we had an opportunity in the second quarter there to really move it and kind of make something. We got 3rd and 6. We ran a quarterback sweep to their sideline. They stuffed it. And that kind of took a lot of wind out of us. At halftime, it should have just been 14-6. We had an opportunity there. We made a terrible call. We had third down. We run Bryson. His helmet comes off. He's also our punter. What do we do in that situation? We made a terrible decision there that backfired against us. And on top of that, we had a penalty, which gave them a great ball there right before the halftime, they went up 21-6. So, we did a lot of things. When you go back, you can point your fingers at it, you can second guess it. We just didn't put our guys in good enough spots to make the plays, and we got to go back to the drawing board and make some adjustments, and we've done that to this point.
Last question on Greenville before we go. How does this make you a better team? Make you a better?
Well, Tony, when you play Greenville, when you learn to lose, you get better. You find a lot about your team, in areas you got to get. But the first and foremost, our discipline's got to be better. Our backside players, our tackling, our overall effort, our overall discipline. You're not going to beat a team like that by making a lot of mistakes. And so, we've gotten back to, we got to get back to what's gotten to this point, and as much as we've been able to embrace all the success over the last 24 months, there's a challenge now to embrace, where we've come up short, and so guys are disappointed, they're angry, and as a coach, you feel like you let them down a little bit, you feel like you let guys like number 10, number 74, they lay it on the line each and every game, and so we got to find a way to get better, and I think we've done that. So, in 2 weeks, we've had the highest of highs and we've had the lowest of lows. We've got to kind of find a way to kind of, get a big win tonight, and the guys got to come ready to play. But we've had a great week of preparation. I think our guys are hungry for a win.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do us for the first segment here on the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Put a bow on Greenville. We'll go after this break. We'll come back and preview tonight's homecoming matchup with the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. We'll be back after these words. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back here to the Coach Shawn Witten Show. Coach, Boone's coming in tonight. Boone had a COVID cancellation 2 weeks ago, didn't get to play. Last week they had one. They finally picked up a team late in Loudon. Tell us a little bit about Jeremy Jenkins. We know they're going to be hard-nosed. They're going, the Jenkins quarterback, he's back from last year. Give our fans a little insight on what this Boone team's going to bring.
Well, Tony, I think all you got to do is flip on the film from a year ago, find out how close they played us. They do a great job of preparing and playing against Boone. This is a big game on our schedule and their schedule every year. They're one of the few teams that play us non-conference every year. I know that when you look at the record, they've only beat us 2 or 3 times in school history. It's very lopsided. It's like 2 and 30-something. But they always play us well. 2 years ago here, they played us well. And so they're a scrappy team. There are a lot of similarities to us offensively. Multiple formations, multiple personnel groupings. They did graduate 21 seniors. They graduated one of their tougher players they've had in a long time. They do a lot of short yardage goal line power sets. They do some spread sets. They're really tough defensively. That's what Jeremy's known for. And, they're going to be ready. And I expect our team to play well tonight. I expect us to have a lot of energy, enthusiasm, homecoming week. That's kind of got our mind off Greenville a little bit. And so we've got a sour taste in our mouth, and the only way you get that, is come out with a big win today.
Speaking of the sour taste, you pointed out this week, you sent a message out saying Clemson lost, Clemson's done, it's just a downfall of Clemson. You as a head coach, coming off of your first loss under these juniors and sophomores' career at varsity level, how do you take that and spin it and get this ship turned around in tonight's direction where it's a quote-unquote statement game?
I told the coaches Friday night that this week would be our greatest challenge as coaches. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from Friday when we left the field? What I said after the game was probably the most important words I had to say. It wasn't so much what I said as how I said it. And who was rallying around me, and who was going to, hear the message and, come back Monday ready to work. And so, the constant communication over the weekend of trying to pick the guys up, and let them know that we're in this together. We got to stay together, and we got to make sure that we're listening to the guys in the locker room. And so the biggest way it happened that is Friday night after the game was talking to the team. Bryson Rollins is standing right beside of me, and he's the one that they're going to look to. He's the one that's been the coach in the locker room. And when we talked to the team on Monday, he was right beside of me, and he's all in, and I think that there's ownership of guys got to take accountability. They got to get back to work, and I think our coaches have done a great job of our greatest teaching lessons were this week. We got to put our arms around them. We got to make it tough. We got to make it challenging, and we got to feel like. The things where we came up short, we got to get better. And so we do that by the entire team's got to work to get better, and I think we've done that.
When you come off a loss, it's been a long time since we've had to do that. The next Friday can't get here fast enough. Fast enough, it can't get here. So it's here tonight. What do you want to see against the Boone team? As you said, they're always the big old strong country boys. They go unbalanced line to try to power you. They've got an excellent special teams. They got one of the best kickers around, the kid that transferred in over there. What do you want to see your team establish tonight on offense and defense?
Well, I think a lot of it is just the energy and just the enthusiasm. It's just a level of excitement we're going to fight for every play. We're going to fight for every yard. And just celebrate with the teammates and the little things of like hustling on and off the field. And we had some special teams blunders, which we were magnificent against Science Hill. But, and small contributions from unsung heroes. We tried to do too much Friday ago. We tried to we had people out of position, people getting caught up in the moment, and just the overall discipline. But it's really all about the energy level, just feeding the contagious effort and hustling to the ball and just receivers and linemen blocking downfield. And so And we've got to do that. And I feel like a little bit offensively, we've just got to use every ounce of the field. You know, we didn't get them backing up off of us. You know, if anything, Greenville kind of came down there and hugged the line. You know, they filled the box for a while. And so we've got to do a great job, I think, also tonight of getting Bryson moving. You know, we've got to get him moving the pocket where we don't feel like he's got to create everything from the shotgun. Some more misdirection plays, which we've worked on. And then, you know, how do we get some guys that have some talent involved? You know, Nate involved, the receiver, maybe Dry involved in some receiver there. But how do we get some other pieces involved? Now, like we did against Johnson City, where, you know, we got some great moments out of Zeth. We got some great moments out of some other people. But, you know, a lot of it is just the way that we go attack the game. You know, we just got to embrace the opportunity to get back out there and just, you know, play with a lot of energy.
Sit in this same building and heard your grandfather say many times, you learn more from a loss than you do for a win. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think a lot of it's just how you kind of approach it too. You know, if you're constantly getting on the kids when you lose, you're not teaching them anything.
Right.
So, you know, we spent some time breaking them down, but then you got to build them back up. You know, and it's about doing the little things. And so, you know, our team's split in a lot of ways, Stacy, because we've got guys that have done it before, and we've got guys that haven't really experienced it. You know, and you know, like I said before, you know, to see the hurt on Bryson Rollins and those guys hurt, that's a great sign. You know, because
they care.
They truly care, and they don't like that, and they were ready to come change it. And so we've got to kind of mix the group. You know, we've got to have more team unity. We got to have more unselfishness. And, you know, I think it's going to make guys like Bryson a stronger leader, you know, and it's going to make myself a stronger leader. You got to pick them up and show them what they did wrong. Great teaching moments this week and kind of just rally the troops. And I think you just got to focus on the positive. Teach them what they did wrong, show them what they did wrong, and show them how we got to do it better. And so you do that sometimes by, you know, pulling off plays and showing them, hey, this is what your teammate's doing. This is how your teammate's playing. And they get so caught up in themselves that they're not seeing what their other guys are doing around them. So I think that we try to do that, and we try to show them that what other guys have done in the past, you know, of just, you know, you got to be true to yourself, you know, face the reality a little bit, you know, look yourself in the mirror and say we got to get better. But ultimately that all starts with myself, starts with the coaches. We got to put a better game plan together. We got to be ready to make more in-game adjustments, and then, you know, we got to utilize, you know, kind of, you know, utilize some matchups when we get the opportunities.
That's going to wrap up the Coach Shawn Witten Show for 2021 homecoming game as your Elizabethton Cyclones host the Daniel Boone Trailblazers. You heard Coach Witten, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. It begins again, and we'll see all these things he talked about on the field tonight. We appreciate you joining us tonight on WBJ Radio Sports and on YouTube. Thanks to Lee Woodby for his help in filming this. And we'll be back after these words from our sponsor. And after that, we'll have the kickoff. Tony and I will break down the game a little bit for you, and then we'll have the kickoff at 7:30 against the Daniel Boone Trailblazers as your Elizabethton Cyclones celebrate homecoming 2021. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our halftime segment. We're joined tonight by two of the big linemen for the Cyclones, anchors for everything they've been able to accomplish here for their time here at Elizabethton High School. I'm going to interview Owen Slagle, one of the starting linemen back from last year, one of the cornerstones for this year's team. Owen, let's talk just a little bit now, after you've had a week to digest last week's game about against Greenville. What's your thoughts on that game last week?
Yes, sir. It's one thing to be a Cyclone. It's one thing to play Greenville. Greenville's another, you know, rivalry. Science Hill. It's always who's going to be on top in our classification. It's always us in Greenville. Last Friday night's game was a very physical game, and I mean that's always what it is. The standard is there. I mean, who's going to be on top? And you always go into the game, a Greenville game, with a mindset that you're going to leave it all on the field, that you ought to. That's the only way when you play Greenville. And Friday night's game, we went out and we performed, but we didn't quite execute everything we set out to do. But we will see them again down the road, and I guarantee you we will be prepared for everything everything he can throw at us.
Talked to Coach Witten about this a few minutes ago. When you lose one, the next Friday night can't get here any faster, so it's here. Let's talk a little bit about the game tonight and what you expect to see from the Daniel Boone team that you face tonight, especially on defense, as you've got to block them.
Well, on their defense, they've got some bigger guys, and well, that's it with the defensive linemen. I mean, they've got some athletic players, but from my standpoint, I'm ready to go. Since that last buzzer on Friday night, I've been ready to strap up my helmet, put my cleats on again. I'm ready to go. We got something to prove. We got to get back into. We got to show them who we are this Friday. We got to step out there and we got to perform to our capabilities. We, as a whole, as an offensive line, I know we're prepared. This week of practice has probably been the best practice we've ever had. Since I've been here. It's been, Coach Witten told us, he said it's going to be, we got to get back to who we are. We were the chasers before, and now we're chasing them again, and that's what we're going to keep on doing. This week we were physical. We had a physical week in practice, but that's what we got to have. We got to see who's going to step up, who's going to be there, and as a whole, we got a lot better this week. We realized our faults, and we're getting better. We got better this week.
Owen, my last question for you is, I'm an old man. I played with your dad here. Your dad was a year behind me in high school. What has it meant for you to be a Cyclone and to play football at Elizabethton High School for these last 4 years?
Well, always growing up, everyone in this town supports everybody in this game. I can remember from little wearing Cyclones all the time from as long as I can remember. My dad always talking about who my dad was, and he played here, and I knew from the beginning I was going to be a Cyclone. Growing up, I can remember being up at Dave Ryder Field up there and watching my cousin play. I mean, it's a known factor here for me, and I know for myself I'm going to do everything I can to get out there on Friday night and perform and do. It's just a standard. But to play at Elizabethton and to be able to call yourself a Cyclone, it's almost too hard to describe. We have a great coaching staff. Everybody here pushes us to the next level. Coach Witten, Coach Whitehead, Coach Pierce, Coach Harrison, they all push us to what we can be. And, it might not be everything you want right then, but you take a look back and you say, they really have helped me grow as an individual and a person since I've been here my last 4 years. I couldn't say thank you anymore, but it just means it's completely awesome just being able to call yourself a Cyclone.
Owen, thank you very much.
All right, Connor, we'll piggyback off that in a minute. Let's get back to the Greenville game. What taste did that leave in your mouth coming off that, especially when there's a picture circulating around? I'm sure you've seen it, said, we got back what's rightfully ours. How did that make you feel as knowing that's the last time when you're senior year at home that we're going to face Greenville? At home,
It's a bitter moment. Nothing about that is sweet. I mean, absolutely nothing. But, even as we walked on to practice Tuesday, we ran over to our sled, which was where Greenville student section was, and I saw the confetti laying on the ground, and I was like, it just made me more mad and more eager to get back. But like all the coaches have said, we're the underdog again, and that's where we thrive.
Do you feel like, one more piggyback on top of that, and I'll ask both of you this, do you feel like this game, I hate to say it, but you can actually get better from losing this game that we may have got, and don't take this wrong, a little bit complacent? Do you think that we possibly, being a little bit complacent? As far as fans, I know some of the fans were. What about the players?
I mean, complacency is definitely real, and we definitely saw that with how the score ended up. But, with losing a game and that streak, which, we really didn't care about the streak, but losing that game was something that will make you work harder, and any complacency that is left in, whether it's the young guys or the old guys, it's driven out completely.
What about you, Owen? Piggyback on that one.
I think it's lit a new fire under all of us. I mean, there's been that fire, but I think there's even more fire in me. I know for myself. I think it's woken up a lot of people. I think it's slapped us in the face a little bit and told us, it's like he said, complacency is real. It is real, and there's a lot of things we need to do as a whole, as a team, that we can do to get better. And that's what I think. This is what's going to push us on. It's going to light that new fire, and that's what I believe it's going to do for us.
Now on to tonight's game. Your senior, your last homecoming game against a Daniel Boone, that team that last year, we had Parker had blocked a field goal in order to preserve a win. 2 years ago over here, it was a hard-fought contest. Every time we played Boone, they always going to give us all they got and take it down to the wire. How do you feel coming in knowing tonight your last homecoming game wearing the orange black?
You're right, definitely. They always give us a hard-fought game, no matter how many seniors they have or how many good players they got. They will always give us your all when you're playing Elizabethton. But definitely, last homecoming here, something special. Homecoming week's special anyways. But, that it's your last one and that you'll never get to experience walking through these halls knowing that you've got a homecoming game Friday night. And it's, it's surreal. And all the students and student body, teachers having your back as you go out on that field Friday night, it's amazing.
All right, finally, question Stacy asked. Last year we did a segment on what it means to be a Slagle. I'm going to put a little twist on it. You've been a 4-year starter. You started game 1 against Science Hill your freshman year. You started every game since then, knock on wood. What do you want these younger kids that are growing up in the junior Pee-wee, junior Cyclones, junior Pee-wees, T.A. Duggar, what do you want them to look at you and say, I want to be like Connor because Connor did what? That's a loaded question.
It really is. I would say it's a tenacity, willing to not give up. Even in the Greenville game, we went out there on our last drive and we tried to score. It wasn't like we were going to sit down. I want the little kids to look at me and be like, I want to work as hard as he did, and I want to be as coachable. And that says it for pretty much all of our players too. We're all coachable and we're all tenacious in our work ethic.
I'll say this before we wrap it up.
I've got one more too before you.
I will say this and I'll turn it over to Stacy. We seen your workout film where you was at the Tennessee 100. If anybody ever wants to see a true definition of pushing it to the next limit, they need to watch your film. See what you did, where you was at, and what you did now, and how much you've progressed. It's just amazing. Congratulations on it. I wouldn't want to tell you that for a while now, but it's a good time to see it. That's pretty impressive. Throwing up, was it 19? 18 reps at 225. That's NFL combine.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Stacy.
All right, Connor, I'm not going to let you get off here unless you say hello to your grandmother, Mary Ellen Williams. We say hello to her she's a faithful listener to WBJ. I want you to say hello to your grandmother.
Hey, Granny.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for our halftime segment, What It's Like to Be a Cyclone. We appreciate number 60, Owen Slagle, 66, Connor Johnson, for joining us in tonight's ballgame. Go ahead and go back to the station for this break. When we come back, we'll pick it up for our halftime and then get preview the second half as homecoming 2021 starts as the Daniel Boone Trailblazers come into Citizen Bank Stadium. We'll be back after these words.